Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ryan here from Game Essays, back with another Zelda tier list. Today I'm going to be taking a look at dungeons in Ocarina of Time. If you want some more Zelda content, I've already done tier lists for both Twilight Princess and the Wind Waker. Those are on the channel right now if you want to check it out. I've also done a formal review of Phantom Hourglass that's going to be part of my long-standing Zelda ranking series where I'm going to be taking an in-depth look at each game, so that is on the channel as well. But let's jump into Zelda dungeons for Ocarina of Time. Starting out with the Great Deku Tree. Inside the Deku Tree, it's going to be an A. I think this is a great intro dungeon. This doesn't exactly count to the fact that you get in it so quickly, but I do appreciate that. But overall, I think it's a great intro dungeon. Quick caveat, we're not going to be really looking at bosses for this. I think a boss tier list will be something I'll do a little bit later down the line. But anyway, for an intro dungeon, I think it's perfect. It's not too long, doesn't outstay its welcome. It's got a few little creative things like jumping from the top down through the web in the middle. And overall, I think it's just a great intro dungeon that is not too complex, but not too boring and long-winded or anything like that. Dodongo's Cavern, I'm going to put at a C. I think it fits nicely here. It's not really a dungeon I look forward to playing. It's just not too exciting. You do get the bombs, and of course that's nice, but overall, I think like the fire bats are really annoying. You have to fight those Lizalfos like 2 times. It's a little bit repetitive. Overall, it's just not really an exciting dungeon, and I don't find myself looking forward to it. Similar kind of feelings towards inside Jabu Jabu's belly, though I'd probably put Jabu Jabu's belly slightly above it. Things like the bubbles and stuff can be annoying. Not bubbles as in the enemy bubbles, as in like those actual bubbles. And there's Octoroks in certain places that are super annoying. Of course, you also got to escort. How am I not thinking of her name? Ruto. Yeah, Princess Ruto. And that can be a little bit annoying too. It's not bad. I don't hate this dungeon, but these two are ones I less look forward to playing. Forest Temple, we're going to shoot that right up to the S tier. No surprise here. I think a lot of people really love the Forest Temple, myself included. Some cool things with, the small key at the entrance, having to think kind of outside the box for that. The aesthetics of like this kind of rundown mansion with this cool moody music in it. The four pose that you have to deal with. I think all of that kind of theming coming together, fighting the pose, shooting those paintings with the bow. The only part I really don't like is the block puzzle on multiple levels. But other than that, you have like the room that you are, you have to untwist the room and then retwist it, things like that. I think the Forest Temple, it's one of the strongest dungeons in the entire game and one of the strongest dungeons in all of Zelda. Really like it. Firmly in the S tier for me. Fire Temple, I'm going to throw in the B tier. I think it's a really smooth dungeon that you can get through pretty quickly. It's not one of the greatest dungeons ever, but I like it. I never mind playing it. Usually, like I said, moves along really quickly. The Megaton Hammer is really fun to use, and I love kind of once you get the hammer and the whole kind of going through the dungeon after you get the hammer, like it's like bing bang boom, you're right to the boss. I kind of love how that's designed after you get the hammer, where you kind of go back down on the levels again. That's probably my favorite part of the dungeon. But overall, it's fine. It's not like amazing, but I never mind playing it. Ice Caverns, probably going to put it in the C tier. It's super short if you're looking to just go in, get the boots, get enough blue fire to unmelt the Zora King. So it's not terrible. I just don't, I never really like look forward to playing it, except for the kind of the cool room where you get the iron boots. I don't know what it is, but that room always looks cool, especially on the 3DS version. But yeah, it's nothing too exciting. So it's just kind of meh. Water Temple, I am going to throw up in the A tier ahead of the Deku Tree. A lot of people hate the Water Temple, but I don't mind it, partly because I've played it so many times that I know where all the small keys are, and especially on the 3DS version where you don't have to keep pausing the game, it's really not bad at all. Houses one of the coolest mini bosses, and even just like the room kind of transforming back after you defeat Dark Link is super cool. Um, I really like it, and it's probably the hardest dungeon in the game. It's definitely the longest dungeon, takes the longest time to complete out of probably any of them. So overall, I really like it. It's really once you, like I said, once you know those kind of those couple small keys, it's really not bad at all, and it's actually a very satisfying dungeon to complete. Then we have Bottom of the Well. Bottom of the Well, I'm gonna put it at a B. Bottom of the Well, I think, is really cool because I love the concept that if you know what to do, this is the fastest dungeon in the world. But if you don't know what to do, this dungeon could be a complete nightmare for you. And I really appreciate when a game rewards you for knowing what to do and being able to save a bunch of time. So, yeah, for a new player, they're probably going to hate this dungeon, but I love that I can just walk through the center, play Zelda's Lullaby, walk right back, jump down the little thing, go in the hole, and then fight the boss, get the mirror, and get the lens of truth, and just get the hell out of there. So is it super exciting? No, that's why I'm probably putting it a B, but it's not like a D or anything because hey, it's a dungeon that respects when you know what to do. So I really like that concept. The Shadow Temple. Shadow Temple, I am going to throw up to. Where do I want to put the Shadow Temple? I am going to put the Shadow Temple at a B. Probably put it below the Fire Temple. The again, I think this is one where it's a little annoying with the lens of truth and the boots, but it's one that's saved with the 3DS because it's just much more convenient to be able to switch between the hover boots and off and everything. It's one of those dungeons again. When you know what to do, it is so much shorter. But it's not necessarily one I'm like loving to get to. But I never mind doing the dungeon. And I think that's just something that is kind of in common with everything in Ocarina of Time. So yeah, I think Shadow Temple's good, but not incredible. Spirit Temple, I am going to throw up in the A tier. Spirit Temple, um, always a big fan of the Gerudo Desert and all kind of the anything with lore towards the Gerudo tribe. I think they're one of the coolest aspects of Zelda. So having that, this place kind of be Gerudo themed and everything, and I love the creativity of this is a one where you have to play through as a child and as an adult. Yes, it's very linear because of the way that they did it, and the gauntlets are also one of the most useless items you get because you basically just use it for that very beginning part, and if you want to get the checkpoint too, you use them again, and then you really never use the gauntlets after that, and then they get upgraded later. So it's like okay, whatever on the gauntlets, but mirror shields really cool. Again, we're not counting bosses, but I like the design of the dungeon. Like I said, it's linear, but I also kind of appreciate the simplicity of it, and like I said, the Gerudo theme and everything definitely bumps it up a notch, and it's just fun to play for me. We have Gerudo Training Grounds here. I'm gonna put this in the D tier because it's honestly the reward is so meh with the ice arrows. Of course, ice arrows get a lot better in Majora's Mask, but ice arrows are so useless in Ocarina of Time. I just never bother doing it. And Gerudo Training Ground, I put it in the D because it's always annoying to play through. If you do any randomizer run, you're definitely gonna find yourself in the Gerudo Training Grounds because there's so many chests there. But I never play through it because it's just never worth doing. So I'm just gonna throw it in the D tier. Ganons Castle, I am going to put up to probably a. Mm, I'm gonna put it at a B, probably on the low end of B. It can be a little bit annoying to you have to play through so many of the rooms at the end of all the different medallions, and it always kind of takes a little bit longer than you expect. And then after that, it's not much until you get straight shot to, um, into the boss at the end. I think I like Ganon's Castle a little bit better in games like Twilight Princess, but I think it's still pretty solid in this game. Just not necessarily my favorite, just because I think it does get a little bit annoying to have to play through each of those rooms. It just kind of goes on a little bit too long on the bottom floor. I wish there was a little bit more beyond that, kind of in the central section of Ganon's Castle. It's also a little annoying that you have to get the gold. If you want to have the double defense, you get those golden gauntlets, you leave the Ganon's Castle, go get it, and then come back. So that's a little bit annoying, but it's obviously not required or anything like that. But like I said, it's solid, and you got to give credit. You have the whole descending the castle while it's being destroyed. Not really my favorite part either, but it is something that's a little bit unique to this Ganon's Castle versus any other. But this is where I stand with the Ocarina of Time dungeons. Again, Forest Temple kind of sits above everything else in the S tier, but we got Water Temple, Deku Tree Spirit Temple in the A tier, Fire Temple, Shadow Temple, Bottom of the Well, Ganon's Tower in the B tier. C tier, we've got the Jabu Jabu's Belly, Dodongo's Cavern, and the Ice Caverns, and then in D tier we have the Gerudo Training Ground. So that's where I stand with the Ocarina of Time dungeons. Let me know what you guys think. How would you rate and rank these? Let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I've also done this for both Twilight Princess and the Wind Waker, so if you want to see those are available as well, and I'll see you guys again next time.